All right, guys, welcome to the weekly, every Thursday morning. You know what? I'm not even going to do like a vote system. This time works for me, so if you can show up, awesome. It will show me who's committed and who's actually going to make some sacrifices to show up to the team calls. Because team calls, guys, this is part of your team, right? If you are at a workplace and I do not refer to me as your boss, but if your boss in your workplace says, hey, we have a meeting at this time, you don't skip out on it, right? This meeting, on the other hand, I'm not your boss. You're your own boss in this business. So that's why most people just skip out and think, I don't need to go to that. But shout out to Lisa and Tom who are making sacrifices, showing up and putting in as much time as they can with me this morning. I'm going to make this fairly short, sweet, and to the point. I'm just going to do a quick overview, kind of what Dallas was like, because everyone's like, oh my gosh, like, did Chaz learn the big secret he's going to bring home? And I learned like the perfect script or the perfect step-by-step system to win like the freaking business. No, that's not how it works. You know what I learned out of the whole weekend? Hard fucking work. That's what I learned. That's all it comes down to, hard work. There's so many different quotes from speakers throughout the weekend. We got to hear from Scott Mann, who I'm going to talk about in a minute. Scott Mann was a 27-year veteran. We're not talking just basic military stuff. We're talking he was lead in the Green Beret, meaning his teams went into villages, and he lost 24 of his friends throughout his 27 years, and he was able to list off every single name. So you talk about a powerful moment. Like, I'll get into his story in a minute. But there's so many different quotes and everything it's been swirling around in my head for the last few days. I still feel me and Jason were talking about this. I feel scatterbrained because that weekend like shakes you to your core, right? You show up expecting to learn. If you've been to Summit, you know what I'm talking about. When you go to Summit workshops, it's like, okay, we're going to teach you how to make the best Instagram photo. We're going to teach you how to craft the perfect Facebook post, like all that bullshit that really doesn't matter in the long run, because that stuff does not build connections. This is what they kept calling belly-to-belly business. You have to get face-to-face with your people, which means dive into their lives, learn about them, and be genuinely interested in them. One thing that shook me to my core was somebody stood up and said, think about all the conversations you have on a weekly basis. Are you talking about yourself more than you're asking questions? And for me, originally, I put up that resistance, like, oh yeah, I'm asking people questions. Then I really started to stop and think, like, shit, I talk about myself way more than I thought I did. So that was one of those moments, and they said, you just need to shut up and ask questions. That's how you learn about other people, dive into their lives, be genuinely interested. So I'm just going to go through kind of the lineup of speakers, and I took just basic overview notes. I don't remember half the stuff that was said, but I remember how I was impacted by each person, how I felt, and that's the feeling I'm bringing home. So if you're hopping on this recording or on the live call right now and you're thinking, oh, Chaz is going to bring home the big secret from Dallas that we all hear about, they literally just, every single speaker, they all talked about different stories, but it all came down to hard work, sacrifice, and commitment. 3 things that people like to do independently, but very rarely do people bring them all together. That's where the results are. So the cool part, you guys probably saw the picture I posted. I tried to get little snapshots of videos and stuff to share with you guys inside there. I have a bunch of little video clips I'm going to put together in a collage video, and I'm going to upload for you guys so you can kind of see a little bit of each speaker. The cool part was, so we show up, Jimmy Nelson, one of my favorite dudes in the business. He's opening up, and he's basically like, what they did last year was they just bashed on like Summit. They bashed on the corporate side of stuff, right? Because they're always about the fluff. Right? Especially like you look at the top 10 coaches, they're always blonde-haired females, right? They tend to fluff stuff up sometimes. And this is all based on what Jimmy was throwing out there. And he starts talking about corporate, and he starts bashing. He's like, Carl's out there making 21-day fix 3, 4, 5, and 6 already, while we're in here trying to figure out how the hell to make this business work. And then you see Carl kind of creeping up behind him, and we're all like, oh! Crowd goes wild because nobody knew he was coming. So it was pretty cool just to hear him step in and say, you know what, I see what you guys are doing. You're starting a movement. And it was freaking awesome. So Carl shared a little bit of background about his story. And the thing that kept sticking out was he said the word fight. That's something that, I'm not talking physical fighting, like kind of crap. It's like not and this is, again, I got freaking shook to the core throughout this entire 2-day event. Cause everything these guys talked about, I kept reflecting back on moments in my life and my story where it's like, shit, this is true. The word fight kept popping up in his story. He had to fight for what he wanted. Most people throw in the towel when it gets tough. I don't fight, right? That can be fighting against resistance of your haters, your family, your friends are telling you it's not going to work. You're stupid, that dumb business, the Beachbody PX90 thing. You always hear those terms. You have to fight against that, guys. I'm not saying go yell at those people and that kind of stuff, but you have to fight for what you want, right? Most people sign up as a coach. Congratulations, yay, you paid your $40 or $140 challenge pack, whatever you got. Now the work starts. Signing up is nothing, guys. We've seen, I don't even know how many people, 450,000 coaches sign up. Do you know how many actually work the business? Less than maybe 5,000. That's like the top 0.5% of the Beachbody world. Why is that? Because nobody fights for what they want. It's like, so I came back, kind of reignited getting the fight back that I once had, right? Something I lost, especially throughout my last 6 months. I've been building my Amazon business, which has been going great. I put so much fight into that business, and I realized I lost my fight in Beachbody because I gave up on myself. And most of all, the fight that I talk about and that Carl talked about is not going to be from outside people or things or circumstances, right? It's not going to be about your money situation. It's not going to be about your time situation, your commitments, all that kind of stuff. The fight I'm talking about is up here. It's the fight with yourself, because everyone sets these big goals, and then when shit gets hard, we give up, right? There's no fight. So one thing that Carl poked around at was, once you decide to go down the path, like you set a goal, great, that's fantastic, hoorah. Okay, that's the easy part, setting the freaking goal. The hard part is making the decision to go down that path, right? We've all seen the stereotypical, like not meme, but photo that goes around Facebook sometimes where it shows like a clean cut path. It has a sidewalk and all this kind of stuff going down flat road. And then you see the one that goes up and it looks scary as shit. Obstacles, branches falling over, all that kind of stuff. If you choose to go up that path and fight towards that goal, you better be ready to make daily actions non-negotiable. I've been getting up at 5 a.m. for the last freaking 6 weeks. Non-negotiable. I've missed maybe 3 or 4 days total. Maybe. Non-negotiable means you show up and you do the work no matter what. And this is kind of like my new thing I've been talking about lately is you have to detach yourself from focusing so much on the goal that you miss the small daily activities that actually get you there, right? Everyone focuses on the big goal, but no one focuses on what do I need to do today to take one baby step forward to that. Most of the time, it's small crap that we don't even think matters, right? You missed your workout. You forgot to drink your Shakeology. You didn't post on Facebook. Like these little tiny things that seem so minute, they are literally what craft your result. So I've learned the last 6 weeks, how have I been able to get up at 5 a.m.? Is it easy? God, no. Like this morning was freaking tough. But you know what? I was actually up at 4:55 this morning. I beat my alarm. I have the rock clock, which most of us are a fan of. And I love hearing that thing go off because I do the one where it's the pulse leading up and he's like, get your ass up. Love that one. So I woke up at 4:55 and I literally laid in bed just so I can hear that alarm. And it's like, boom, up, go. Did I want to get up? No, those blankets were so damn comfortable. But you know what? I'm not focused on the present moment. I'm focused on, I have a goal. I chose to go down this path. I know it's going to be hard and I have to show up every single day and detach myself from the emotional outcome, right? I have to detach myself from the big goal. I just have to show up and do the work no matter what. So it's non-negotiable for myself. 5 a.m. I get up. And then we had Dave Ward. So Jimmy and Dave are the two dudes who put this whole thing on. And so Dave used to be a big time lawyer for these big companies, right? And his whole speech was on pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered. What the heck does that mean? And he goes on to share about his story about how he was making $150,000 a year as this big time lawyer. He had the fancy Mercedes, he had the big house, he had all this stuff, right? And then the market crashed September 2008, I believe. The market crashed. And obviously for lawyers and real estate, those business models, everyone went out of business. And he realized real quick, and he was pointing the finger at the big guys in the marketplace saying, how dare they crash this thing and blah, blah, blah. They lost everything, their house, their cars, everything. And he realized that throughout the years, and so he was calling these big time market people, the guys on Wall Street, he was calling them the hogs, right? The guys who were just soaking up everything for themselves, the hogs, the guys who were taking more than they should have. And he realized real quick that he had the cars, he had the house, he had the money, he had all this extra stuff. He didn't have a dime put away towards his kids, towards his debts. And he realized real quick that he was being the hog. He was not taking care of his priorities. That's the difference between pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered. And then he goes on to talk about something that I friggin' loved, and it was, everyone wants to make more money, right? But not many people are willing to do what it takes to make more money. How do you make more money as a coach? We get more coaches, right? We build a team, we build a network, an organization. We get clients and customers and coaches on our side. How do you break that down more? How do you get coaches? How do you get clients? You have to become valuable. You have to be adding value to people's lives. How do you add value? You have to build skills. Skills come through personal development and working on them every single day. People look at me as I'm comfortable on video. I love doing videos. I love talking to people. I love getting up here and providing value. I was not ever good at doing that, but I'm good. I'm decent at it now because I've showed up for the last 7 freaking years and put in the work. The last 7 years of skill building and mindset training has brought me to where I sit today. So if you are stuck thinking you have no value, you haven't been working on your skills. You need to reverse engineer that shit and figure out, what do you need to do today that's going to build you a better skill set, that's ultimately going to build you a better value that you give, which is going to attract people to you. If you're sick and tired of trying to chase people down to get into your business, how come you aren't focusing on being valuable so you attract them instead? I rarely have to go out and chase people anymore. It's because throughout my last 7 years as a coach, I have developed my skill set, which has developed the value that I bring to my community, which has developed my ability to attract people to me. I put up a Facebook post and I'll usually get 2 or 3 messages on average. Not many people can say that because not many people have done what I've done. I've put in the work. I sit where I sit today because I've worked for it. No other excuse, no other reason. It's not because I got in the business early. It's not because I've been in it for 7 years. Even though I can say I signed up 7 years ago, I didn't start building the business until 3 years ago. And throughout the 3 years, it's looked like this. I've had my high times. I've had my low times. But no matter what, I've stuck with it. I put in the work, and that's why I sit where I sit today. I'm doing my job. Are you? That's one of the biggest takeaways I took out this whole weekend was he sat down and, we're talking about a multimillionaire in the Beachbody world. And Dave said, I'm up here doing my job. Where the hell are you at? Right? It's like team calls, right? Non-negotiable. The people who show up to the team calls, they're here. They're putting in the work. They want to be here. They are ready to build this thing. We're doing our job. Where the hell is everyone else? It doesn't matter. Those of us who make a decision to go down this path and be successful, we're going to the top of that damn mountain. It doesn't matter who we take with us. There's going to be people sitting on the sidelines. People drop out. People quit. I'm going to the top. I'm putting in the work. Are you going to join me? Right? We're hand in hand with this thing. So then we get into Scott Mann, who was the 27-year veteran. His whole thing, he pops up and he talks about rooftop leadership. And you guys have seen me post in the group already about this. Rooftop leadership. He goes into depth about, I'll have to see if I can find a recording or a video or something of his speech because he is so just vivid with his visuals. Like you feel like you're there inside of these villages when he's talking about this stuff because he's going through, he's moving with his body, being physical with it, all that kind of stuff. So he talks about rooftop leadership and just kind of go over my notes. So during he was deployed, I think he said 17 times. 17 times he had to say goodbye to his wife and kids and not know if he was coming back. That's stuff we can't even fathom. Not many of us can even put our minds there. So he talks about how he led these groups of people and their job in the Green Beret was to go into these in Afghanistan and Iraq and all these different areas, the Taliban at the time was very, very heavy into like killing off their own people, killing off Americans, all this kind of stuff, right? That was their territory. These guys would get dropped into the red zone. They would go into these villages of locals, and they would make connections with the leaders of that tribe or whoever they were working with, and they would establish a connection, let them know they were friendlies, and they would proceed to try to teach them how to fight back, right? They just keep getting bombarded. All their family members, everyone's coming and getting killed by these Taliban troops. So these guys, the Green Beret, wanted to come in and teach them how to fight back, how to stand up for themselves. So they would do these powwows, these huddles, and they would camp there for weeks on end to build the trust and teach them how to fight back. And so these guys let fear overwhelm them so much that they just, when these Taliban troops came, they did nothing. They literally just had to sit there and just watch their friends, their family, everyone just get slaughtered. That was their reality. And he did that for 27 years. So while he's in here trying to teach these guys, right, there's resistance up front. There's tons of resistance. And he would have to tell them right up front, there's going to be a couple things that happen. Number one, the Taliban are going to come for you. The second they find out you're talking to us Americans, they're going to come for you within a week. And he said, sure enough, he, as hundreds of missions that he led, every single time was the exact same thing. They made the connection. Within a week, the attack came. So he talks about how he made the connection. He told them right up front, number one, there's going to be an attack within a week. They're going to come for you because you're talking to us right now. So of course they would put up resistance and say, get out of our village, blah, blah, blah. And he would still push and try to tell them like, no, I'm here to help. We need to teach you how to fight back. And he said, number two, when they do come, not many people are going to be here to back us up. No one's actually going to be here. As much as we're going to teach you guys, everyone's going to have fear and resistance to actually pursue this and fight back. And he said, number three, when you get it, when you actually take the leap of faith and join me and fight back, they'll stop coming. And so sure enough, within the week, it's the middle of the night, and they hear that first crack of fire, and they say fire out front, or whatever their term is. He says fire out front, and he goes through this, he's putting on his gear. He's doing this live on stage, right? And he's got the mic front, so it's making like big old noises and stuff. So he says fire out front. And so sure enough, he's like, okay, cool. I've been here. I've been putting out my word, putting out my value, trying to help these people fight back. I've been doing this for weeks. It's go time. So he puts on his gear, grabs his gun, checks it, and he goes out there, climbs up the ladder to the rooftop, goes up and starts firing, right? And he's just fighting back. And he starts looking to his side and realizes no one is there. Everyone's hiding. And he fights throughout the entire flipping night until both sides decide to call it quits. So they both part ways. He gets off the rooftop. He goes and rests for a few hours, meets back with his troops and meets back with the village people. And he's like, I thought you guys were ready, right? You said you wanted to do this. You said you were ready to fight back. And everyone was still scared. They just let that fear hold them back. And sure enough, he goes back to sleep for a few hours, and then crack, midnight, fire out front, puts his gear on, gets his rifle, goes up to the top of the ladder, climbs up to the roof, gets ready, starts firing, looks to his left and right, nothing. Nobody's joining him. He's up there by himself, fighting the fight again. So he goes throughout the night, comes back down, rests. He said he did this for 2 weeks straight, every single night. They would get closer and closer and closer to their village, and he would just be holding these guys off. Until one night, fire out front, gets his gear on, gets his rifle, climbs up that ladder, goes to the rooftop, climbs up over, starts firing. And all of a sudden, to his right, he sees this tracer shot come from his side, shooting out. And he looks and he sees one village dude that stood up. One dude that said, you know what? I've had enough. I'm ready to fight back. He grabbed his gun that he had and he started helping. And sure enough, it goes throughout the night. They rest during the day. Next night comes, fire out front, gets his gear on, goes up the rooftop, climbs up over, and now he sees 2 or 3 tracers coming up from his side too, and he looks over, and those village people are starting to come up. They're starting to fight back until soon enough, a few nights later, the second that they say fire out front and they get to the rooftops, you've got the whole village firing back. The fight lasts for 5 minutes instead of all night. those Taliban quit. They moved on to the next village. They fought back. They won. That right there is leading from the rooftop. So many times I reflect back in my life, my business, something as little as like a team call, right? So many times in my life, I've gotten up to the rooftop first. I'm firing, looking to my left, looking to my right. There's no one there. And that's perfectly fine. And I've quit many times because of that. Anytime I try to host something or lead something, I'm expecting everyone to join me on the first shot. But that's not how it works. I have to show up like this dude, Scott. He showed up every single night and fought for his life for 2 weeks on end before one dude decided to join him. And then it caught on. So many times throughout my business, my career, my life, I've tried to do these things where I want to lead. I get to the rooftop and I may fire off a few shots for a couple hours. And then also I look to my left, look to my right, and I go, no one's here. What's the point? And I just give up. I stop fighting. So you have to ask yourself, are you actually putting in the work? Are you leading from the rooftop? This is why you've seen a mentality change for me inside the group, because you know what? I'm not going to drag bodies. I cannot drag anyone. I cannot drag you up that ladder with me to the roof. All I can say is there's a fight going on. I need your help. Are you going to join me or not? That's up to you. I'm going to the rooftop every freaking day. I don't care if nobody shows up or 10 people show up. I'm going to the rooftop every single day, starting at 5 a.m. when that alarm goes off. That's the mentality change I've had, is lead from the rooftop, no matter if anyone shows up or not. So with that, they brought up a couple different speakers, talked about fitness panel, making sure that you have to have passion for the products, right? So many people are trying to promote this business, trying to promote the products and Shakeology, P90X, all that kind of stuff, when they're not actually using it themselves. I'm not talking about, you drink the occasional shake and you do the occasional workout. I'm talking about follow the damn programs. They work if you work them. You cannot lead a successful business in the health and fitness industry if you are not showing up first and leading by the rooftop. So many people, we've seen it year after year, so many people yo-yo. I did it for my first 4 or 5 years. It wasn't until the last 2 years I took my own health and fitness seriously. So many people are trying to do that right now. So many people are just like, oh, I don't feel motivated. I don't fucking care if you feel motivated. All I care about is you said you want to achieve this goal. Here's the action steps to get there. The programs are laid out for you. It's stupid not to follow them. They are so easy to follow. The hard work is staying consistent in it. Motivation is crap. It doesn't matter if you feel like it. No one cares if you feel like it. All I care about as a team leader is you said you want this goal. You're standing right here. Do the freaking work to get closer to it every single day. You're going to have off days. You're going to have bad days. That happens. It's life, right? I have my off days all the time. But you know what? If you look at my month as a whole and I only miss 2, 3, 4 days, that's no big deal. But if you look at my week and I miss 2, 3, 4 days, that's not okay. I'm not leading by example at that point. So you have to ask yourself, are you actually taking this shit seriously? And are you passionate about what you're doing? One of my favorite quotes, I actually think I have it on this page. Yeah. One of my favorite quotes by Gary Vaynerchuk that got up there. I mean, you guys know Gary. This dude's no BS. This is where my mentality comes from right now. This dude is no BS. He says, so many people in network marketing businesses, they say, oh, I want to achieve this. I've been in it for this long, but I'm just not getting the results, blah, blah, blah. And all he said was, you know what? If you're not working hard enough, you don't like it. Plain and simple. If you're not putting in the work, you do not enjoy the process. Again, detach yourself from the freaking goal. Have the goal, keep it in sight. That's what keeps you on the path to get there. But stop focusing on the goal. Focus on the journey. Focus on the process, the daily grind. It's not beautiful work. It's not miraculous. It's not fun to do at all times. But you know what? If you're not working hard enough right now and you're not staying consistent, It's because you don't like it. You know why I'm up at 5 a.m. every day and I work until 10 or 11 at night? Because I love this shit. I love the work. I love the process. I love the journey. But it's because I show up every day and I choose to do it. So if you're struggling right now, ask yourself, do I actually enjoy this? Like, seriously. Because I told the team the same thing that Gary told all 500 of us dudes. A third of you are not going to make it. A third of you do not have the passion it takes to make a business successful. So you need to get up and get out. That's just the harsh reality. So many people sign up as coaches like, yeah, I want to help people. Okay, cool. Here's how you do it. You work, right? You put in the work. That's the stuff that everyone misses and skips. Oh, I had a busy day at work. I'm tired. Guys, I've had people ask me like, okay, Chaz, how can you sit up here and talk about putting in the work and all this stuff when you have all the time in the world? You work for yourself, right? I get that. I work for myself now, right? But here's the thing. Two things. Number one, I am far more busy now working for myself than I ever was at a job. And it is 10,000 times harder to work for yourself than a job, because at a job, you have to clock in 9 to 5 or whatever your hours are, because if you don't, your ass is fired. You miss out on your paycheck. When you're self-employed, you have no accountability. You have no choice but to be self-driven enough to get up and do the work. Reason number two why going to a job is easy. When you go to a job, you clock in 9 to 5, right? You have the accountability. But here's the thing everyone misses out on. I built the bulk of my business while I was working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, because I was working for 4 years. I was trying to get this Beachbody business launching off its feet. For 4 years, I was slaving away over a massage table for another company. Big time company too. I'm talking, we were slammed Thursday through Monday. And I had Tuesdays were my only day off. And I spent that typically with Trista, who was my girlfriend at the time. I guess, yeah, we had gotten married that first year. But that's beside from the point. The point is, don't ever look at somebody who's self-employed and say, oh, it's easy for you. You have the time. Because you won't understand until you get in our position. You'll see, right? You'll see how tough it really is when you get here. So when I was working at that spa full time, I would go to work. I'd leave the house at 7:30 in the morning. I wouldn't get home until 5:36 sometimes. And yeah, man, doing massage therapy, it sucks at times because it's exhausting. You're pushing on people all day. Your back hurts. Your shoulders are killing you. You have a headache. God forbid you even had time to squeeze in a lunch break in the middle of the day. So I'd get home at 6 or 6:30 sometimes and just be miserable. But you know what I did? Sat down, took my pre-workout, and I knew I had about 15 minutes for my pre-workout to kick in. So I'd spend 15 minutes and post on social media. I would form my challenge groups, send out some invites. I would do my workout from about 6:30 to, I guess, like 6:45. I don't remember what program I was doing it back then. I think it was Insanity. So like 6:45 to 7:30, I'd get my workout in. And then from 7:30 to 8:30, or maybe 8 to 9, I did my power hour. I sent out my invites. I did my blog posts. I made my videos. I put out my content. I provided value. And I'd be done working by 9 o'clock. So you see that? Go to work at 7:30 and I'm not done until 9. How many of you are going to a job right now that you don't like, you hate, right? You sit here and talk a big talk like, yeah, I can't wait to quit my job, blah, blah, blah. That shit's never going to happen unless you work. You have to make sacrifices. You either have to get up early before your shift and do your workout, your invites, your content, right? If you don't provide content, you're never going to get a thing out of this business. You have to be giving back. We are such a people helping people business. It's ridiculous. You have to give content out. You cannot build a business without providing content to people, without providing free value. That's what attracts people to you. That's what I did for 3 solid years. And then all of a sudden my Beachbody income came up, right? Team started to build, income came up. And all of a sudden I started looking at the finances. I thought, I don't have to work 6 days a week anymore. So I went and talked to my boss and said, hey, unfortunately, I hate to tell you, but I'm cutting down to part-time. You only give me 3 days a week. They fought to get me 4 or 5 days. They fought hard. There were times they'd call me in on my days off and say, hey, we need you today. Can you come in? There was times that I was a sucker and I said yes, because at the time I cared a lot about what people thought about me. So I felt so bad. I felt like if I said no, they'd be like, oh, that's too bad. We all know that feeling, right? So I busted my ass for 3 years, probably 2 solid years. I spent a year doing this stuff in the beginning. But then, man, January 2013, wildfire. Got my ass in gear. I hit Success Club All-Star, which means 12 months in a row. I earned my first free cruise, my first free trip of my life. That was the only thing I've ever won in my life. Not one, I earned it. Worked my ass off for it. I took Trista on the honeymoon we can never afford. That was a huge motivator. That was the big goal, but I never focused on the big goal. I focused on the small daily activities, the content, the invites, the challenge groups, repeat. That's it. I did that throughout my first several years. And then I came out of that and I was only working part-time. At the same time, I was building my own massage business and Beachbody still, until I got those things up to a point where it's like, you know what? I'm out of the workforce. Walked in, I'll never forget, minute by minute, second by second, walking my resignation letter into that place. I remember every footstep going down into the hallway. I remember walking up into my manager's office, and I remember sitting down. I remember she knew the second I sat down, that look, she knew. I said, I just want to let you know I appreciate everything that I've learned here. It's been a great opportunity, but I am going to go self-employed now. Here's my letter. You will never forget that moment. And I'm not talking about you put in a notice to quit a job to go work for another job. That's not the same. I'm talking about there is such a level of gratification. I can't even put it into words. No descriptive words will ever make this thing real. There's no word that can tell you how amazing that felt, to know that I'm putting in my notice. My life is now mine again. My time, my energy, everything's mine. I control it now, 100%. You will never forget that for the rest of your life. And the kicker is there's only like 2% of people on the planet that will ever experience that, because 98% of people are lazy. 98% of people give up. 98% of people don't want it bad enough to do the work. I was one of the rare breeds that, because I conditioned myself year after year to work and grind and work and grind and work and grind and make no excuses, and I just made all the sacrifices I could to make that shit happen, I was able to walk away from that job, go full-time self-employed, and that was 3 years ago. Friggin' amazing. It all comes down to passion, work, consistency. Everyone's like, oh, Chaz, how was your trip? Tell me about Dallas. There's no words I can use to describe how Dallas went. It's just a feeling. It makes you reflect on everything you've been doing, because it's 500 dudes. They cut out the fluff. They cut out the BS. We didn't learn how to post on Instagram. We didn't learn how to do Facebook posts to attract more viewers. We didn't learn about any challenge group shit, none of it. All we learned was you've got maybe 30 top coaches up there of the males. You got these top earners, these millionaires that shared their stories. They all started at rock freaking bottom. Bankruptcies and divorces and all this rock bottom stuff. Most of us have not hit the rock bottom, near the rock bottom these dudes did. The only reason why they were able to crawl out of that hole and then flourish in this business and in life was because they had passion, extreme passion for what they do. They were not afraid to talk about Beachbody. They were not afraid to invite. They worked and they stayed consistent and they made sacrifices. That's it. The technical stuff like Instagram posts, how, the step 1, 2, 3 to inviting people, none of that matters. If you care enough about your business, about the products, about the company, about yourself, and you care about other people enough, you're going to bridge the gap. Just be real, be raw, be yourself. That's it. There's a specific quote I'm trying to remember. I'm just reading through my notes. One of my favorites I wrote down here, and I was one of them. Don't talk up front. Fake confidence smells like shit to winners. Why do you think, and Gary pointed this out, and none of us really caught on to it until he said it. Gary V only talks post-game after it's done. He doesn't say, oh, I'm going to start day one of 2022 hardcore today. I'm going to start 21-day fix on Monday. Finish it, do it, and then talk about it. Talk about the epic results, right? I'm not saying don't share your journey. Share the journey along the way, but don't talk a big game if you can't back that shit up. Talk post-game. Next bullet point, it says, you will only work hard for what you truly love, which is why those of you that say you're struggling working the business and you're skipping days, you're being lazy and inconsistent, you don't truly love it. I'm sorry, but if you don't have 1,000% in belief in what you're doing, you're never going to make it. That's the honest, hard truth to accept. And some people want to fight it so much. Oh, but I love Beachbody. But do you? Do you just like the idea of the products and a fun community? Or do you actually love and believe in this shit 1,000%, and you love it enough that you're going to put in the work to make it work? Because it's not easy. It never will be. Everyone thinks, oh, once I get to Diamond, once I get to Star Diamond, it's just cruise control. No. If I were to tell you that for every rank you get to, for every income level you get to, it's going to only get harder and harder, would you still build it? Because a true entrepreneur is like, fuck yeah, let's do it. The wannabes will say, if it gets harder, I don't really want to deal with that, right? The idea, everyone loves the idea of working for yourself. Everyone loves the idea of having success in Beachbody. But very few people love the actual work, the grind that goes into it, right? There's so many fake entrepreneurs out there. So many fake Beachbody coaches like, yeah, I want to make $1 million, blah, blah, blah. That's great. What are you actually going to do about it, though? If you're sick and tired of being where you're at, do something about it. I can look at your life and your business and your choices every single day for the last 6 months and tell you where you're going to be in 6 months from now. Because if you've been doing the same shit year after year and it's not working, you need to switch it up. Try something new. Try something different. Why don't you try committing to a program for a change? Why don't you try committing to the business? Why don't you try committing to helping people? That's where it's at right there, is the commitment. Another bullet point. It's easiest to hustle when you have your own shit together, which is why I talk about doing the programs, right? Be proof. It's rule number 1 in Beachbody. It's the first vital behavior for a reason. Everyone overlooks this. Be proof that the product works. So many people overlook this. It's not even funny. Everyone's like, oh, be proof that the product works, personal development, invite. Yeah, I get it. Do you know how many people are actually doing it, though? You know how many people don't follow the programs? They're so inconsistent, and then they're trying to post on social media and wonder why nobody's following them, why nobody's committing. They're not going to ever follow what you say, guys. They're going to follow what you do. So if you're up here saying, I'm starting a challenge group, I'm going to help 10 people lose weight, and they start scrolling through your shit and realize you're not doing it, how can you help me? If you don't have your shit together, you're never going to be able to help anyone else. Focus on you. You can do both at the same time, but you have to come first. I'm up at 5 a.m. every freaking day. I'm leading by the rooftop. Most of you are not showing up with me. Some of you are, and it's awesome. It's so much more fun and so much better to build a community when people show up with you. But you know what? The hard truth is, in my own team that I have worked countless hours on, my own team, I've put so much time and energy into people for. No one's showing up. Rarely do people show up. I'm up at 5 a.m. every day, leading from the rooftop. I'm doing my job. Are you doing yours? I'm up at 5 a.m. every day. I do personal development for an hour, and I go to the gym and I get my program in. And I'm following Body Beast right now. I show up every single day and I focus on me first, because when I feel my best, I give my best to my family, to my relationships, to my customers, my coaches. I feel like $1,000,000 when I focus on me first thing in the morning. So if you focus on you first, then throughout the rest of the day, you can focus on others and you can start inviting and teaching them. Like, you cracks me up. You know, I've had a couple people that I've reached out to. I reached out to one person yesterday at like 9 a.m., right? By 9 a.m., I've already done more than most people have by noon. So by 9 a.m., I start reaching out. I'm sending out some invites. And I sent an invite to one person. They messaged back. And they're like, oh, yeah, I'm super excited to start working out and all this kind of stuff. They're telling me their life story, how they want to change and blah, blah, blah. They're like, yeah, you know, I feel like if I can get up at 8 and get my workout in and start my day, then I feel like I'd be making some progress. And I said, you know what? And this was at 9 o'clock. And I said, I've already been done with an hour of reading plus my workout plus a little bit of family time. And it's only 9. And he's like, oh, you get up that early? Yeah, I have to. I'm committed. The next bullet point was by, let's see, which one am I going with? Let's go Mark Canella. Talks about, you know, and corporate's guilty of this. Everyone focuses on the rank, right? Everyone's always like, you know, if you get to 5-star, we'll throw a big party for you. We'll celebrate. We'll put you on stage, all that kind of stuff. And I got sucked into this for a long time. I got sucked into, I want to be recognized. We all love to be told we're appreciated, right? Good work. We all want to be told that. But don't get sucked up in it, because rank, there's so many broke 5-star diamonds out there, believe it or not. There are broke 5-star diamonds. And there are wealthy emeralds and diamonds. Rank, and this is the quote, rank will get you a party, will get you recognition. Volume, team volume, building your team, helping people succeed will pay you for life. That's residual income. I was able to take basically the last 6 months off of Beachbody, and I still got a weekly check. Some weeks were more than others. Some weeks were crap, but you know what? I still got a paycheck every single week for the last 6 months. It only happened because of team volume and residual sales that I busted my ass for a year, 2 years ago. Next bullet point. I've already talked about this several times. You have to fall in love with the grind. You know what's funny is after doing the 5 a.m. wake up for 6 weeks, I still do not like it, but I secretly love it. I secretly love the internal fight, the battle I have to do with myself to get up out of bed at 5 a.m. I love the grind. The late nights I've been putting in, all that kind of stuff, secretly love it. You have to fall in love with the grind, the daily steps. Next bullet point, your story starts at the bottom of the mountain and shows climbing to the top. And here's where it's a mindset thing. It's perspective. It's how you look at it. So many people, we're all at the bottom, right? Everyone starts their Beachbody business or life at the bottom, right? It's the bottom of Mount Everest. And so many people mentally think, I'm at the bottom now. I'm going to climb to the top, and then I'm going to share on social media all my pictures from the top, the highlights, right? That's not how you build a following. That's not how you build a network or a community. You want to attract people to you. You start at the bottom and you share your process along the way. Why do you guys think I take, just pop open my phone, take a selfie at like 11 p.m. when I'm putting in the grind? I take pictures when I'm at the gym. I take pictures when I'm reading. I take pictures to show people like this is what I'm doing every day to make my shit work. I'm not just going to take pictures of $100 bills, flash them and say, hey, look what Beachbody paid out this week. No, that's showing at the very top, right? That's not real. No one connects with that. They connect with the real stuff, the struggle, the you. You have a bad day, share about it. There's more people out there just like you having a bad day, and they're going to see your post and be like, yes. If this person struggled and I could see that they're real, they're raw, I connect with that. I like this person. They can make that connection, right? Be real and be raw. One thing I'm going to start doing is prospecting, qualify your people, work with those who want to work. I used to put up tons of posts inside the team page, and I would say, Okay, guys, starting on June 1st, I'm going to take a group of 5 people and we're going to succeed, right? I'm going to focus on you guys. And I would just add whoever wanted to be added. You know what? No, not anymore. I'm going to pre-qualify people. Don't just say, I will no longer work one-on-one and put all of my heart and energy into people that say they want to do it. I'm going to look at your results from the last month, week, 2 weeks, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to look at your results and say, you know what? You say you want to do this, but your actions show differently. The people who show up and do the actions, those are the people I work with. I do not work with talkers. Not anymore. Not happening. If you want to put in the work, show me you're ready to do the work, and then we will work together. Another big one too is stop using Facebook Messenger to invite people. Get them on the phone, get on a video call, meet with them face to face if they're local. Messenger is how you build, the initial conversation. Messenger is how you set a time to get on the phone. That's what I've learned. I did a ton yesterday and it works out great because people can blow you off on Messenger. They can read it and be like, yeah, I'm not really that interested. But if you get them on the phone and you share a little bit about your story and you start asking them questions and dive into their life, like, holy crap, this person actually cares, right? They're asking about me. Tom and Chelsea saw it the other day. I had somebody asking questions on Facebook Messenger about Amazon, and I was going back and forth for a minute. I thought, you know what? I'm just going to get you on the phone. And we chatted for like 15 minutes. Boom, connection is made. That dude trusts me now because I took time out of my day to dive into his life and help him. That's the kind of stuff you need to be doing with your invites, whether it's to a challenge group or the business. Get them on the phone. Find out about what drives them. Why are they wanting to do this? Make that connection. Get real with them. And then most of all, follow up. You have to follow up. Most people are not going to say yes on the first try to anything. You have to follow up. Give it a week. Give it 2 weeks. You be the judge of that, but you have to follow up. David Ingram. Love this dude. This one I took to heart is people don't connect with your six-pack. They don't connect with your fitness posts. They don't really connect with that. They connect with your struggles and your story. So instead of just taking, a selfie at the gym and saying, boom, it's, Flex Friday, where's yours? Share about how you used to be so self-conscious about the Flex Friday post. You never used to post them. Share about the struggle behind the story. That's where that connection's made, guys. So you can still post the sweaty selfies and all that stuff, but don't just – no one connects with it if they're scrolling through their feed and all they see is like, happy Friday. No one's going to connect with that shit. They're going to connect with the story within that. So always, always, always share. He gave a 4-step process. There should be a background. So again, if you're taking like a sweaty selfie or a Flex Friday or something like that, like a fitness post, or if you're holding hold a plank or a squat, push up and take a picture of that and start with a catchy title, and then go into number 1 is share a little bit of background. It doesn't have to be 10 paragraphs long. Guys, if you do any Facebook posts that are more than 2 paragraphs long, make that shit into a blog post because Facebook is not meant to be lengthy posts. Everyone does it and I used to do it all the time. I'm getting better at it, but you need to keep them short because people are scrolling like mad. You have to do a catchy title. It's going to make them stop, and you have to have it short enough that they're actually going to want to read it. So share the background. What was the story behind the story? I used to be so self-conscious about my arms, but now I can happily do this. Number 2, what you didn't like. I kind of just touched base on that. Number 3, what was the solution? You can talk about the program that helped you. You can talk about the mindset change, whatever it is. Number 4, why you're excited now, right? Love this bullet point. You don't need to share the whole story. You just need to share enough to get common ground, right? So you look at like stay-at-home moms usually go through the same struggles. So instead of, the stay-at-home moms, you don't have to share your whole life story about the struggles you've gone through and blah, blah, blah. And 6 paragraphs later, you're finishing it up. All you have to do is share just enough that another fellow mom is going to be like, you know what? I went through that same thing. All it takes is maybe 3, 4, 5 sentences to make that connection. I think, last one. Like I took like 10 pages of notes in here, guys. They are actually going to be giving us their own, what they call playbook. All of these speakers gave their best sources and resources inside of one playbook that I'm going to get a hold of. So I'm going to come up with coaching systems and all that kind of stuff is going to be on my end. But I think for you guys, this one's going to touch base with you. Mike Ryan, if you don't know this dude, look him up on YouTube and add him on Facebook. Awesome dude. He's actually local here in Oregon. He's down in Bend, about 3 hours away. So I would love to get together, do a hike with him or something like that. So he was all about connection, right? Most people communicate, but not many actually connect. That you sit and marinate on that one for a little bit, and you start to think like, holy crap, that's kind of true. A lot of people can open their mouth and jabber and talk, but not many people are making that connection. It's like Jason and I over the weekend. Like Jason and I had a lot of times where we skipped out on the after parties. We didn't go to one. We skipped out on the after parties. You know what we did? We went back to the hotel room. We masterminded and we talked. We didn't talk about the weather. We didn't talk about sports. We didn't talk about anything but goals, life, deep meaning conversation. We talked about each other's struggles, our backgrounds, our stories. We made the connection. That's where it's at. I said it earlier, but Mike was the one who said this. No one cares about your own shit. Stop talking about yourself. Start opening your mouth. And the only time you should be opening your mouth is when they ask you a question, of course, answer it, share a piece of your story, but not the big lengthy word vomit version. But you should be asking questions more than you're talking about yourself. And here's another mindset one is your stories are always in motion. Don't ever think that, I think a lot of people are, they put up resistance with the whole coaching business because they're like, oh, I'm going to wait until I lose weight and then I can coach. I'm going to wait until I get my perfect after photo and then I can share it. No, your stories are always in motion. You're never going to be at that perfect body. It's always about progress. So if you're sharing, if you want to share before and after photo, you don't have to have a six-pack to share an after photo. I do it all the time. As long as you're sharing your story about your progress, where you came from, what you're doing now, and what you're excited about, that's where it's at. Your stories are always adapting and changing. Big, bold letters, give a shit about people. That's not a hard one to grasp, but it's one that not many of us are actually doing. Care about people. Dive back into them. Speak life into them. So many people are stuck in such a dark place in their life. They have no support at home. They have no supportive friends. Most people are stuck with their head down. Look at grocery stores. Everyone walks like this. No eye contact. God forbid you see a smile out of anyone. Be that person that speaks life into people. Be that person that people want to be around, right? I'm not saying that in the sense of don't just tell people what they want to hear so you can be cool or whatever. I'm talking like, think of one person maybe you have in your life where you think, I wish I could be around that person all the time because they are so positive. They speak life into people. That's who you need. You're never going to become the perfect version of it, but you need to strive to progress towards that. Progress, I guess, be the word. Another big one too is stop focusing on your past. That's a big one. Some of that goes deep depending on, what kind of past you have, where you came from. That's a tough one to get over. And they gave the example of your past is kind of like a sidewalk, right? I heard a door open. Your past is kind of like a sidewalk. So many people are looking back and they're seeing like dirt and mud and shrubs and just branches and all this crap behind there. But when you turn and look in front of you, you've got a clean path in front that's just waiting to be trekked. Stop focusing back there. You can't change it. It's done. Learn from it, progress from it, but turn around, start moving forward. So if you've been struggling for years or months or whatever with your health and your fitness and your mindset and your business, stop focusing back here. Who cares about how many years or months you've been in this thing and you haven't gone anywhere? Stop focusing on that. Turn your ass around, focus on what can you do today, right now, moving forward to make a change and to pave a better path. I love this analogy. Tennis ball match is a conversation. And what he means is so many people spend time with a tennis racket, right? And they're sitting here just bouncing the ball up and down while the other person's watching. That's what a lot of people are doing. They're word vomiting. You know, you get on a roll, you start rabbit trailing on your different stories and stuff. Stop doing that. It's a tennis match. Hit the ball to them, they hit it back to you, right? Bounce off of each other. Don't be the guy who's just bouncing the ball up and down going, oh yeah, blah, 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 and sharing all about you. It's not about you. They don't care. They care about them because each of us live in our own little world, right? I have my world that I'm in. It's like, you know, in my head, I've got like Amazon, I've got Ty and Tris, like all these things on my mind all the time. It's my world. And then I've got, yes. Oh, he is. Hold on, guys. I'm going to go say bye to little boy real quick. All right. Get my headphone back in. That right there, that is why I build this shit. It's 9:20 a.m. on a Thursday. I would have been working on my second client if I was still at the spa. I was able just to hit pause on life real quick, go kiss my little boy goodbye while he goes to grandma's for the day. That is why I do this. Time freedom. You cannot get time freedom working for another person. You can love your job. You can love what you do. You can love your coworkers. But you, as long as you work for someone else, you will never be in control of your time. I was able to hit pause on life. Let's put it this way. Time freedom, like my definition of time freedom, is being able to hit pause on life to do what you need to do. Whether that's you get the call that somebody's in the hospital, boom, hit pause on life, go be there, be present. Trista just said, hey, Ty's going to leave. I said, okay, hold on, pause. Go give him a hug, kiss him goodbye. That's time freedom. That's why I build this. That's why I will never stop. I'm unfreaking stoppable. I dare somebody to try to outwork me. That's how much I'm in this game right now. That's how much skin I have in this thing. Because if I stop, Tristan and I have to go back to work. That's not happening. I refuse to let that happen. That's why you build. So, whatever goal you're trying to achieve, you need to get raw and real with yourself. Because I think especially in entrepreneurship, being like a full-time coach, right? Sounds like it's all fun and games. A lot of people, especially in the Beachbody community, love to share the highlights. The highlights are why so many people get discouraged when they sign up. Because they signed up thinking, ooh, if I sign up as a coach, I get the highlights too. So they sign up. They're usually stuck with, what do I do now? You have to work. You have to build your own highlights. You cannot live in other people's. My highlights mean nothing to some people. My highlights are motivators for other people. You have to build your own highlights. Where do you want to be? How do you get there? And do it. Stop talking. Do it. That's it. That's all it comes down to. Chaz, what did you take out of Dallas? What did you learn? I learned I've been inconsistent and lazy. That's what I've learned. What am I doing about it? I'm changing it. I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to work my ass off every single day. I don't take days off, and I have not in about 6 weeks. I'm up at 5 a.m. I go to bed at 11 p.m. on average. I don't have time for video games. I don't have time for movies. I don't have time for news. I don't have time for gossip and drama. I work. That's it. I take little pause breaks throughout the day to spend with Trista and Ty and to go eat and to do stuff I like to do, but in little tiny increments. I don't waste time anymore. Time, I have learned more than anything, is so precious and valuable to me. It's like, somebody wants to hop on the phone for an hour, that's going to be $100. That's what I charge in the massage field. If a client wants me to go to their house with my table and work on them for an hour, that's $100. And I have several clients that pay it weekly because I've proven myself enough to them. They understand my time is worth that. That value, money is always just trading value, right? Is this thing valuable enough that I'm willing to trade my money for it? You look at Shakeology. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, $130, blah, blah, blah. If you don't see it, the value in it, then don't get it. I've seen the value in it for about 5.5 years, and I've bought it every freaking month. What's funny is there's been months where we're tight on money and I have to put it on hold and I don't drink my Shakeology for 30 days. You bet your ass I buy it the next month because I feel a difference. I will happily trade that value for my money. So you have to ask yourself, are you actually building your skill set to become valuable? And when you share that value with others, that's how you attract them. So if you reverse engineer it, if you are not attracting people and not successful right now, that means you're not providing value. If you're not providing value, it's because you don't have the skills or confidence. If you don't have the skills or confidence, you need to build them. How do you build them? By sticking with the program, exercising every flipping day, by eating the right foods, by losing the weight you need to lose, by focusing on your mentality through personal development. That's the foundation. If you do not have the foundation built, you cannot build a skill set and confidence. If you don't have skill set and confidence, you can't provide value. If you can't provide value, you'll never have a business. It's not rocket science. If you want results, start right flipping now. Build your foundation, build your skill set and confidence, and progress from there. This has been Coach Shaz. Love you guys. Peace out, ThriveFit. I am about to hit a day of work. I've got my day entirely blocked off just for Beachbody. So I'm going to be hitting up video recordings. I'm going to be hitting up tons of invites. I added 145 people to my list of people to invite. I did my job. You guys going to do yours today? See ya.